it until it hit a point where it was undeniable, and I just got lucky. Why would I target Carson Wentz of all people, who I thought was the MVP until he got hurt in 2017? No, I was seeing things last year that told me this dude is heading in the wrong direction, and worse, he's being praised for it. He's not having to look in the mirror and fix the things that are going wrong. He's being told that he's excellent, and he's the reason the Eagles are winning. And when they're losing, when he's turning it over, it's not his fault. And that has continued this year. That's why they drafted a quarterback in the second round when Wentz was like 26 years old. Let's be realistic, guys. I'm sure they didn't want to start Jalen Hurts yet. He's not ready, I'm sure. But it's not about giving yourself the best chance to win a game you're going to lose anyway. It's about trying your best to fix Carson Wentz and holding him accountable to the team. He must be held accountable. Stephen A., he says that's just the way we do things around here, Wentz said. Because a couple weeks ago, he didn't feel nervous. I hope he's feeling nervous now. Maybe he'll start to address the many problems he's presenting as a quarterback.
I disagree with you. And I disagree with you for a multitude of reasons. Number one, I'm thinking about the receiving corps he has available to him. Not that impressive. Obviously, one of his primary targets, Zach Ertz, has been out. I'm also thinking about the fact that I'm looking at Doug Peterson and how this man has regressed. Carson Wentz has clearly regressed. Nobody's arguing with you about that. But I'm looking at Doug Peterson and what the hell are you doing? Just like I'm pointing the finger at Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles in yesterday's case because you're asking Tom Brady to cover up for a bunch of deficiencies with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, you might be asking Carson Wentz to do the same to a lesser degree with Philadelphia, and I don't think they can be absolved. Here's the ultimate indictment against Doug Peterson in my estimation, and why I'm not a proponent of Hurt starting over Wentz tonight. You've got guys in Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. They have averaged less than 16 carries combined a game this season. Miles Scott, I think that he's averaging about 4.8 yards a carry. Boston Scott, I'm sorry, is averaging over 5 yards a carry. These guys are running the football effectively enough, and you won't give them the damn football. Maybe if you ran the football a little bit more, you wouldn't be asking Carson Wentz to do so much, and as a result, he wouldn't be getting himself in so much trouble trying to play hero ball. So that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And last but not least, here's the thing. Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal athlete. We saw what he did at Alabama. We saw what he did at Oklahoma. We know that the brother's a stud athlete that has a lot of promise, and we wish him nothing but the best. But we also know, we saw why he got pulled from halftime of that national championship game. We know why his career has struggled. We know what the question mark about him has been. His ability to throw the football. Clearly, Doug Peterson does not believe in him. Because Doug Peterson is on the record, Max, saying the other day, you know what? If you're going to sit up there and make that move, you're throwing away the season. You're conceding that you're going to lose. And that's not what we want to do here. So that tells you all you need to know about his belief in Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has got to know that. And so if you go out on the field knowing that a head coach was a bit compromised or a bit disgruntled about letting you be in that role, and then you go out there and you don't perform, it could mess with your confidence moving forward. Why do that for this season? Why do that for this season? Carson Wentz made his bed, complete 58% of his passes, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Let him lie in it. Let him lie in it and let him find a way to work his way out of this season because they've got too many problems to fix. And that way you buy Jalen Hurts more time so you could build this confidence instead of jeopardizing it. That's my take.
Yeah, starting Jalen Hurts tonight would be absolutely ridiculous. It would be the wrong decision. Carson Wentz is your starter. You can still win this division. As far-fetched as you think it is, and now with Daniel Jones' potential injury, you are the only team in the division that has your starting quarterback healthy. The next 4 weeks are brutal. The only way that you will survive the next 4 weeks is Carson Wentz playing really good football. It's not going to be Jalen Hurts. Max, I find it absolutely fascinating that you can go back to last year in a stretch over the last, I think, 7 or 8 games when Carson Wentz throws something like 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions and go, he's regressing. What did you like? What did your trained quarterback eye show you in the middle of a 7-game stretch where he throws for 18 touchdowns and 4 picks with absolutely no one at receiver? I would love to know how you saw regression in that. I'm fascinated by that.
What's amazing? I'm happy to answer that question. What's amazing to me is that you'd want to do that to yourself. Who you're one of the best I've ever heard breaking down this kind of stuff, and you're so dug in. I will tell you, he played the NFC East at the end of the season like 4 times. I saw every other sorry, sad sack backup quarterback and rookie play better against all the teams that he was beating heroically, according to you, when he was turning the ball over on 3rd down consistently in the 4th
turnovers,
quarter,
Max.
making bad decisions.
4.
He was fumbling the ball too, Dan. Do you think? So let me ask you something.
Turnovers.
Was I?
Gotcha.
What? If I'm talking about regression last year, and I'm alarmed by what I see, and then again in the beginning of this year, and you're denying it the whole time, so you must have thought he was cruising at a very high altitude, and then suddenly he fell off a cliff? Is that what you're arguing? Because you admit he stinks now. So I'm saying it's been a long, gradual process from the middle of last year, and you're claiming, no, Max, you've been ridiculous the whole time. Correct. It just suddenly happened. I woke up this morning, and Wentz is no good.
I never, here's the difference. I never pinpoint of quarterback's the greatest thing ever, no one else matters, or quarterback's the worst thing ever, and no one else matters. I have said he's not playing good this year, and there's a ton of variables that are adding to why he's not playing well. Let's go to the Jalen Hurts conversation. You don't start Jalen Hurts. If you watch Jalen Hurts, because I called college football last year for ESPN, had a couple Oklahoma games. Really great kid and a really good athlete and developing as a quarterback. But the 2 really good defenses he played against last year were Baylor at the end of the year and LSU. It was ugly. It was ugly. 1 touchdown, 2 picks, had no passing game. Didn't play any preseason football. And now we think the best option is going to go, let's play Jalen Hurts. Because here's my thought process. If you're going to play Jalen Hurts, you have to get creative within your offense. It can't just be a traditional drop-back passing game, which is a lot of what the Eagles do now. It has to be, we got to get creative. We got to use zone read. We got to run quarterback run. We haven't seen that out of Philly. You haven't shown me that you're willing to do that you have the capability to get super creative with your offense. So if you're going to take Jalen Hurts and place him in the same offensive scheme that you've been calling for Carson Wentz, that will not go well. You don't have the people. You're still going to be playing with the same skill position. This still will be the 10th offensive line in 11 games, the most in 33 years that a team in the NFL has ever had to use. So what do you got, Max?
It's not about this game. It's about the rest of Carson Wentz's career. It's about the Eagles franchise, Dan. Carson Wentz is standing up at press conference saying that's the way we do things around here. No. You know what the worst thing for the Eagles would be? The worst thing for the Eagles. Carson Wentz has a big game. They win. Somehow they win the division this year, and he goes on thinking what he's doing is okay. That will end his career.
Max, why do you constantly want to change people?
It will end the Eagles franchise as a contender. The fact of the matter is Wentz needs to do soul searching. He needs to play better football at this point, Dan. Everything.
He needs to play better football. He needs to not have a 10th offensive line in 11 games this year. They need to use Jalen Reagor better. They need to have an offense that's got skill players that are ready to be impactful players. You know what they need? To have a receiver take a short pass and go a long distance that we see a ton of other NFL teams do. They don't need to sit Carson Wentz to go, bad boy, better not turn the football over anymore. We're going to take your job. They don't need to lose the division to try to prove a point.
Carson Wentz is probably the worst starting quarterback right now in the league, but I don't believe he's actually that. I believe the things you're identifying are making him look that way. I think Carson Wentz is probably an average, low average quarterback if he had all the things you're talking about. That does not excuse everything going to hell.
You start Jalen Hurts and see what happens. You start Jalen Hurts.
Doesn't trust what he sees.
Why do you think he doesn't trust what he sees, Max?
Picks.
Why do you think he doesn't trust what he sees?
Everything's going wrong.
Why do you think he doesn't trust what he sees?
Quarterback in the second round to run the Wildcat?
Why do you think he does not trust what he sees? because they are not very talented on the outside. And he's hurt for weeks and weeks and weeks. Don't turn the football over. That's all we need you to do. It's called taking your stinger away from a quarterback. Let me tell you, if you play Jalen Hurts for the majority of a football game with the offensive line beat up as they are, this scheme and this skill position, it'll be way uglier than it's been this season.
Sure, that's right.
All right,
Hurts
the
isn't
Eagles
ready. That's
took
not
their
the
stinger
point.
away, and I'm taking your voice away. Let's roll the bumps. Dan, always good to see you. You always bring it. We'll watch you on TV all day. The Bears blown out by the Packers. Does Chicago need a new coach? Is Matt Nagy to blame for messing with this quarterback situation? Plus, how about